everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Kylie, and today is going to be NaNoWrimo day 21 and 22 put together. So let's get into it. This is part 3 of revising, re-outlining, and re-putting together my project Claymore.
Stop chasing all the city lights. Breathe me in, go on and take your bite. Count on me to make you come.
So part 3 of this whole process of revising, reorganizing, plotting my novel, Project Claymore. So I said earlier in the previous video, I was going to go through how explain how I choose the chapters to keep, choose the chapters to alter, choose the chapters to say bye-bye and keep in an archive. And cutting is easy for me. Knowing which chapters to alter is harder, and I'm one of those people who naturally in my daily life, I enjoy no clutter. I don't hate knick-knacky things if they mean something to me, but if they're just knick-knacky things for the sake of being knick-knacky, I don't like it. So I'm a minimalist. I don't have a bunch of makeup. I have the few pieces that I enjoy. My closet is pretty basic. I have the few pieces that I love and enjoy. I don't do the whole, like, there's like an actual system that people use. I don't do that, but I can wear clothes for like ever. Like for instance, this shirt is super comfy and beautiful and nice and I love it. It's a hand-me-down because in my family, my cousins and I still believe in hand-me-downs and I'm okay with this. So I've been getting hand-me-downs from my cousins since I was 4 and I'm totally okay with that, and I still am, and I still love going closet shopping in my older cousin's closet, which usually happens once every couple of years. And it's great because we're the same size. But anyway, how do I decide what chapters to keep? The chapters I decide to keep are the ones where it has a lot of not necessarily information, but a lot of things that move the plot forward. So a lot of important things that even if I have to alter it, I know I need to keep in there because, ooh, this is super, super important to the plot. This is indicative of the characters, of the story arc, of everything that's happening. It must stay. Not everything can stay. And cutting for me is easy. It's harder for me to kind of figure out which ones need altering. So, how do I figure out which chapters I can keep but alter at the same time? I will go through and see if they are moving the story forward. So as I said in the previous video, there are 4 or 5 chapters right in the beginning of the book, which upon looking at it again with a more critical eye, with an eye definitely more focused on craft and that sort of thing, structure of a story, there's info dumping that is happening in that first few chapters. There's the Claymore history, there's the family history, there's even the family dynamic because they're all in the same place. There's even what the siblings look like. And you should always, this is just something that I like, that I'm not strong at writing, is your opposite character, your hero or your heroine should be the ones doing the describing of the other. That way you're getting an honest to goodness description of that character. Unless you are in like a self-reflective moment and they don't like the way they look, or they are actually actively studying their features and they're saying what they do or don't like about themselves. If they're arrogant, they can say what they love about themselves, but what's amazing. If they're really insecure, you can go through a checklist of, I hate this, I hate this, I hate this, as you do in real life. You can do that way. However, I have pretty much allowed my main hero to describe himself and his siblings in what they look like. And I am going to cut that and kind of move that to my heroine's point of view. So she can kind of say, wow, they all have similar features, or wow, you can tell they're claymores because blah, 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 blah. Or that's strange, he's a claymore, yet he doesn't really, he looks more like his mother or instead of his father. Something of that sense. So that part's going to be cut. But some of the scene is going to stay because there is really a good, there's a good dynamic in that chapter between the siblings where you get to see their relationship. Like, William is, you know, they're Scottish, so they're wearing kilts. So William is playing around with Callum's sporran, which is that little bag that goes in like the front of the kilt in front of the goods. And they're just picking on each other. Kenna, the sister, comes in and is, you know, getting after her twin, and he throws her over his shoulder in a gown because they're close. They're twins. They love to have fun. Their mother walks in and is like, excuse me, let's have a little bit of class here, children. We're about to go to a coronation, and she kind of shapes them up. So I really want to keep that dynamic in because it's fun. It shows the dynamic between the siblings versus the parents, which is extremely different, and I really want to keep it in. So other things that I like to cut are slow. If it's just too info dumpy, I'm gonna cut it and try to strew it about through the story in a more cohesive manner, in a manner that's not bleh, because I don't want to Tolkien it here. I don't want to, as much as I love Tolkien, I don't want to describe everything down to the striations of a leaf. Okay, we're in a forest or whatever, we get it. But I just don't want to info dump that much onto my readers, because I know as a reader, if I'm info dumped on, I'm like, so now I have to remember all of this stuff instead of slowly learning it organically throughout the threads and the building of the story. It's kind of like, okay, now I have to remember all of this stuff. Fantastic. So I'm really going to try to eliminate that, because that first 5 chapters after the prologue really do kind of sort of info dump, describe, and I want to do it in a better, more organic way. Now, what I cut, these are the chapters or the pieces of the chapters that I can look at and say, this is not moving the story forward at all. This isn't needed. Or I can put this in a better way along with this scene. I can alter this chapter to fit these 2 lines that I need. Sometimes in a scene, you only need maybe a line or a paragraph or a couple of dialogue sections. That's all you need from that scene, yet you build a scene around it because it's just something your brain does, and the scene is basically a throwaway scene, but you need either that paragraph, those couple of lines, or those few bits of dialogue. You can take those few things that you need and move them over into a chapter where it is more cohesive, more conducive to the plot, to the characters, and you want your characters to react in a real way. I went to Readers and Ritas, and one thing that they said is you want 2 or 3 visceral reactions from the character throughout a page. You want to really get the senses involved: touch, taste, sight, hearing, and smelling, that sort of thing. Get the senses engaged. I was like, do I need to go back to kindergarten and remind myself what the 5 senses are? but I got it, so yay me. One of the biggest helps that I have is I have invested in the emotional thesaurus, and I will link those down below. They are on Amazon. They're super, super helpful. There's also the negative trait thesaurus that I have, and the villain trait thesaurus that I have, and the, I think it's called internal wound, like people who have experienced trauma or pain in their past, and how like a mental disorder or a trauma in their past is going to affect them for their future and how they handle certain situations or things. I'll link those down below. Those have saved me. And I have also gotten a book, which I will link down below. I cannot think of the name of it right now, but I will link it down below, and you know what? I'm just gonna find it. So that book is called Strong Verbs, Strong Voice, and it is by Anne Everett, and it has saved me. So what happens in that book is if you have words that you get hung up on, mine is was, and however, so, since, stuff like that, it will give you a list of other words, of common verbs that you, and then it will list other words that mean the same or generally the same thing that you can add to flavor, spice up your novel, so that you're not reaching for those same verbs to make your voice stronger, to make your content not so repetitive. And that's a craft thing, and that's something that was really important to me, and I'll link that book down below as well, because that book has really, really helped me. That's one of the things that I do when I go through, when I'm final plotting, is I will highlight the words that are my crutch words. I will go through the entire manuscript, and I will sometimes even rewrite entire sentences to make a new word fit if I have, say, 3 wases in the same 2 sentences of each other. Sometimes you can't help it because it's just the best word for the sentence, but I do try to clean it up, so to speak, so it's not was this, look that, said this. So yeah, that's another thing that I look for when I'm going through for cutting scenes, like, ugh, can I fix this to make it better? And then, of course, there are the scenes that you look at them and you think to yourself, why the heck did I even write this in the first place? Bye-bye. So that is how I choose to keep, toss, and alter my scenes. We are going to be going into kind of a little bit more detail in this revision process, because, so this is day 2 of the cuts, or the keeps and the cuts and the alter things that I need to figure out. However, I feel the best way for me to do this is going to be to start at the beginning with a blank Word doc and just start pulling from and rewriting from and doing it that way, so that my brain can organically process and move this forward. So I'm going to go ahead today and plot out my Act 1, 2, and 3, and my scene list that I have so far, the notes that I have taken from my first preliminary cuts, and then I am going to show you all that, you know, Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, it'll be here next. It'll be showing me just writing things down in time-lapse, because time-lapse is amazing. And then once I get there, we can move on to the next. So let's get started. Again, this is my process. This is not everybody's process. Not everybody is this nitpicky. Not everybody is this, you know, anal retentive to the max about this type of thing. But to me, this is just how I function, and this is how I have to get my words to paper. It makes the most sense to my brain. I'm very visual. I have to see it in a list format. My OCD doesn't allow for very much wiggle room in that aspect. So without further ado, let us begin. It is the second day, so it is now the 21st, and I have gone through and done some pullouts. and things of that nature. So I'm going to do some more pullouts, which means I am going to go through the rest of this document, pull out the scenes that I want to keep from the chapters, pull out the scenes that I don't want to keep, and just delete them. But I am going to go through them that way. It's going to be a long process. The time lapse kind of shows how tedious it is. It's a lot of reading. It's a lot of really getting in there and questioning, is this conducive to the plot? Does this move the story forward? So that's what I'm going to be doing for the rest of the day. But first, I want to go over and collect my NaNoWrimo winnings. So let's go see. So there you have it. I'm going to continue to do these scene pullouts, scene grabs, scene snaps, and that's what I'm going to be doing the rest of the day, besides working on some audio. So wish me luck. It's going to be a little bit of a tedious process, but I'm really excited to just get it done and know that this book is going to be one of the most well-crafted books that I have personally written, in my humble opinion. I'm not perfectionist. I know I can always learn more, but I really do feel confident with the amount of work I'm putting into this. And the way that I'm looking at it is, this is the kind of process that I think I kind of need to put all my other books through. Legend series here is going to be closed out by the end of this month. And I feel like in closing that out and having those 7 books plus my contemporary romance and contemporary novella, Feathers and Wings, with those 9 books, I feel like I have leveled up over the last 4 years, and going into year 5 of my author career, I really feel confident and happy and like I've grown a lot. So hope you enjoyed this video. I will see you not tomorrow, but on Saturday for days 22 and 23 of NaNoWrimo. Because again, I am super busy, so I'm having to pick and choose my vlog times. So yeah, one love, you guys.